Economic advisor and Bloomberg opinion columnist Mohamed El-Erian is urging the Fed to acknowledge that inflation is not transitory. He also told Fox News Sunday it's time for a change in policy, and a new person in charge at the U.S. Central Bank might have found it easier to alter course. Jerome Powell was renominated as Fed chair last week. El-Erian has repeatedly said the Fed is underestimating inflation risks. The Women's Tennis Association says it remains deeply concerned about the well-being.
The following is a paid program. The opinions and views expressed do not reflect those of Bloomberg LP, its affiliates, or its employees.
Hi, I'm Jane King, and thank you for watching. This show is all about public, private, and blockchain companies. We bring you the innovators behind the companies making the headlines in that space. Some are sponsored, some are invited. All are curated and focused on telling you, the viewers, their story. Here we go. Fetch.AI is unleashing the power of blockchain-based machine learning artificial intelligence. In other words, it's seeking to bridge the cutting edge of technological innovation with the products and services that we use every day. And with me is the CEO, Humayun Sheikh. Welcome to New York. Welcome to the NASDAQ.
It's a pleasure to be out here and finally see you personally.
I know. We've talked on Zoom so many times. Let's start with the crypto market. It's been very interesting over the past year. What do you think about the crypto market right now?
I think we're finally seeing some good momentum. We're finally seeing some good adoption. I think there is a lot of acceptance coming from everywhere, institutions included. So we have more proponents now than we've ever had. And the price has been reflecting that in terms of Bitcoin, what Bitcoin has been doing with a huge amount of inflation. I think, as we've all seen, it could be a good bet against inflation. So.
It's really interesting to watch the price because it will, there'll be a China regulation thrown at it and it'll drop and then it comes right back up.
Straight back. Yeah.
And then something else and then it'll drop and comes right back up. So it keeps wanting to rise.
Because I think people are seeing the potential that it could bring. And I think that's quite, that is very important because otherwise, if it's just a currency which exists, do nothing. And it's the whole space. It's not just BTC. It's obviously the whole adoption of decentralization, digital currency, many other projects which are coming online. So it's a good time to be in crypto. It's very exciting.
Yeah. So that's a perfect intro to my next question about your thoughts on Web3, the metaverse, DeFi. I mean, that all fits together, right?
Yes. I think there is a lot of hype. There is a lot of things which people say which are not true sometimes, but underneath it all, it's real, and we do see a lot of kind of utility for it. We expect to see a lot more adoption for it, and if I take all the things that you said, if I take them just separately and I just say, for example, Web 2, Web 1 gave us e-commerce. We saw big, huge companies which are kind of the top companies in the world these days. What we're now going to see is the next adoption, Web 3.0, Web 4.0 even. Because at the moment, Web 3.0 is just enabling you to connect some wallets, make some decentralizations, but that's not going to be what really kicks it off. We need a lot more development coming, and that's on its way.
Yes. So where does Fetch.AI fit into this new technological world?
So we're building, I mean, if you look at what's been happening in the past, when a new technology comes in, you see a lot of hype, then you see some real companies which produce some real tools which enable the businesses. So Web3 is going to have the same thing. At the moment, mostly Web3 is about finance, financial instruments, DeFi, but ultimately what would happen is that real traditional businesses will start adopting Web3. And that's the process of digitization that will change the game, because that will change the whole model in the way businesses work. And what Fetch is doing is building the tools which enables you to do that. And in those tools, machine learning and AI is a very critical tool. So unless you're able to bring Web3 and combine that with machine learning and AI, you will not really realize the full potential of the scale that is coming. And you have to enable personal enterprise, because that's where we're heading. We're trying not to see too many big corporates come through. We're seeing Web3 model is going to change that. So all the tools that you require, we are looking to build, and we are building, and we're launching several of those tools now.
Yeah, there's so much going on, and it's kind of hard to get your head around how we're going to be living in a generation or so. What are the opportunities that you are most excited about?
So, as I was saying, at the moment, what you have is this financial products, right? Although they are very important and they make a lot of money, they are very useful, being able to transfer money across, that's great. But what are you transferring the money across for? The real business which is behind it. So what I'm more excited about than anything else is bringing those real businesses and onboarding them onto Web3. And utilizing the capabilities of data, utilizing the capability of machine learning and AI tools to actually enable individuals. And that's really, for me, that's the key.
Okay, all right. Always fascinating stuff, Hawaiian. Great to see you.
It's a pleasure to see you, and thank you for all the time.
Thanks.
Keeping your four-legged friends healthy can certainly be a challenge, especially with painful joint diseases like osteoarthritis. If you see a change in your animal's mobility, contact your veterinarian and don't wait. Today, veterinarians have a new tool against joint disease. Introducing Spring with OsteoCushion technology. The natural-derived product has the ability to help your animal move more freely. Put the spring back in their lives for a longer, happier life.
Need hearing aids? Tired of paying $5,000 or more? Tired of making multiple trips to have your hearing aids adjusted? Now you don't have to. Our Hear IQ 4 medical-grade hearing aids are fully rechargeable, Bluetooth compatible, and start at under $1,000 for a complete set or monthly payments of $44. Our hearing aids are self-adjusting using any smartphone and features remote programming by hearing care professionals without you ever leaving home. Order your pair today at myheariq.com.
Helios DX is defining a new era of reliable laboratory testing with fast, accurate results. With a full range of services including urine toxicology, behavioral toxicology, infectious disease, allergy, and other popular test menus. Helios DX, an alternative to national diagnostic laboratories, provides value to patients and physicians through personable and reliable services. To learn more, visit heliosdx.com/labs.
The metaverse is one of the hottest topics in tech right now, and BeemUp creates an open metaverse where you can create custom worlds, set up virtual events, play games, also launching a token as well. So with me, CEO Alex van der Baan from the Netherlands. So great to welcome to New York, welcome to the NASDAQ.
Thank you so much.
So let's just start with the metaverse, because we really, a lot of people hadn't even heard of this till Facebook decided to rename the company. How will consumers be impacted by the metaverse?
Well, I think they're already impacted today. I mean, if you look at just the US, I think what we're seeing is youngsters from 9 to 12 engaging, 50% is engaging in a game called Roblox. They asked their parents this Thanksgiving, can you please buy me some Roblox so I can buy this 3D asset?
Roblox, no, I'm very familiar, yes.
Exactly. So it's happening already, and of course it really depends on the age that you have, but it will start impacting your life eventually, and because we think this is going to be a big thing over the next 10 years.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really, we're not pushing it out. I mean, it will be there when you're ready for it.
Well, you know, Nike and Roblox have a partnership now where like you can wear, your avatar can wear a Nike gear, and so is that the kind of thing we're going to see more of?
Yeah, but I think also Nike, funny that you mentioned, I mean, they started, I think last September, they had their first director of metaverse, and it really shows that companies like Nike, but also other big brands are really starting to look into what the metaverse is and what it can mean to their brand.
Yeah, so NFT.NYC just wrapped up here a few weeks ago. Huge success, tons of interest. I mean, how will NFTs play into the metaverse?
Well, I think NFTs will be, many people are looking at it as a sort of a hype, or obviously we've seen quite a few examples of more pump and dump and less novelty experiences.
True.
So we think that it's going to be the future of digital, the transference of ownership. And right now we're seeing a lot of digital assets, but I think in a number of years what we'll see is that perhaps you can actually sell a house or resell a house, a physical asset also through NFTs.
Right. Yeah, the tokenization of assets isn't limited to art. It's limited, and of course Bitcoin had the bubble in 2017. Do you see a similar thing with NFTs now?
Well, yeah, I think January 2009, Bitcoin started with a revolution, basically a revolution decentralizing finance, and I think it impacted many financial companies. So in hindsight, I think it's safe to say that wasn't a hype. And with the transference of ownership, we think that will be the next step. And if it's going to be as big as I personally believe it will be, then there will be it will be in need of a strong infrastructure, a reliable and decentralized infrastructure. And that's what we need to build, not just our company, not just our token, but we need a broader community for that.
And do you mean like with strong Wi-Fi? I mean, what kind of infrastructure do we need for the metaverse to really reach its full potential?
Well, if you look at, for instance, as you mentioned, the blockchain and Bitcoin, there is a very resilient network at the moment. So you can actually, you're 100% sure that if you do your transaction, it will happen. And we need a similar infrastructure, a similar decentralized infrastructure. We need to build that as well for NFTs. And currently we're seeing different companies doing different things, but we'll see that getting more centralized and getting more standardized over the next year or two.
Now, we mentioned you're launching a token. So you've got the metaverse going, and then you've got this blockchain-based token going. You mentioned you want to go big or go home, so I guess that's what you're doing, right?
Exactly. No, I think basically the marriage of metaverse and what metaverse will become over the next few years, and the potential that blockchain has to offer. And I mentioned blockchain because I think it's about the technology, not per se just Bitcoin. That marriage will be super strong, because it will actually allow people that don't want to surf the web anymore, lose their data, lose their privacy. They want back control. So by using a decentralized infrastructure, we can actually give that to the public. We can show them these experiences, these concerts, these shopping experiences, this perhaps a stage for activism, for politics, whatnot, and actually know that the data they're actually providing, that it will be their data.
And they will be reimbursed for that too, right? They will actually profit from that data.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's with the token.
That's with the token. So basically with the token, what we're trying to do is we're trying to help other companies, brands, to think of new ways of engaging out to the public, but also like concepts that we see in gaming today as well.
Thank you so much, Alex.
Thanks for your time.
Very interesting.
Keeping your four-legged friends healthy can certainly be a challenge, especially with painful joint diseases like osteoarthritis. If you see a change in your animal's mobility, contact your veterinarian and don't wait. Today, veterinarians have a new tool against joint disease. Introducing Spring with OsteoCushion technology. The natural-derived product has the ability to help your animal move more freely. Put the spring back in their lives for a longer, happier life.
Cyber attacks are a global threat affecting consumers and companies. Whether you're using your computer or mobile device to bank, shop, or work remotely, your privacy and corporate data are at risk. For over 20 years, STRIKEFORCE Technologies has developed some of the world's leading cybersecurity solutions. Millions of users around the world have put their trust in us to protect what matters most. Your privacy and data are your business. Protecting it is ours. Visit StrikeForceTech.com today.
Need hearing aids? Tired of paying $5,000 or more? Tired of making multiple trips to have your hearing aids adjusted? Now you don't have to. Our Hear IQ 4 medical-grade hearing aids are fully rechargeable, Bluetooth compatible, and start at under $1,000 for a complete set or monthly payments of $44. Our hearing aids are self-adjusting using any smartphone and features remote programming by hearing care professionals without you ever leaving home. Order your pair today at myheariq.com.
Helios DX is defining a new era of reliable laboratory testing with fast, accurate results. With a full range of services including urine toxicology, behavioral toxicology, infectious disease, allergy, and other popular test menus. Helios DX, an alternative to national diagnostic laboratories, provides value to patients and physicians through personable and reliable services. To learn more, visit heliosdx.com/.
PINKPANDA is a utility token especially good for beginners to the crypto world. It's got an easy on-ramp, an elegant design as well, and it allows people easy access to DeFi. So with me is CEO Adam Carlton and also Kareem Lukman, the senior exchange architect, to talk a little bit more about the latest things that PINKPANDA has been up to. So, and I see you have a guest with us today, Adam. Can you introduce for us Kareem and kind of tell us a little bit about Kareem, and then Kareem, you can talk about what attracted you to PINKPANDA.
Yeah, so I'm really happy to introduce Kareem, at least for the first time here to you. He joined us a couple of months ago and really is I'm not going to take away from his background, but he's got an extensive background in financial services as well in crypto, both on the technical side, but a lot from understanding on how the actual flow occurs, right? And how transactions occur and how settlement occurs and how, all the little ghosts in the machine. So really happy to have Kareem to be focusing right on that functional aspect and how we can drive value for our end consumer. So Kareem, I'll let you talk about yourself a little more.
Go ahead, Kareem, and talk about the back office stuff. That's important.
Thank you, Jane.
Yeah, go ahead. So tell us what drew you to PINKPANDA.
I guess my background, I think Adam's given it a brief coverage, which is nice. I left university with a computer science degree and probably the idea that I was going to become a great games programmer. But, that dream died slowly over 20 years at investment banks. So, initially I started developing trading systems, then moved into trading and then into program management. And eventually I just became a little jaded by the traditional banking arena. And that was just as crypto was gaining momentum. So I kind of found myself attracted to this brave new world, which was emerging. And with it, I started looking actively for roles in crypto space. So ended up working for an exchange in Hong Kong, which was, a great experience. And then this opportunity with PINKPANDA had appeared. And it was kind of a few things that attracted me. Firstly, having experienced DeFi and DEXs myself, I found the user experience utterly underwhelming. So PINKPANDA's goal of creating a frictionless mobile experience, I thought would certainly open up the area to a whole new marketplace. And, especially with people who probably struggled with the technology and the number of hoops, that are required to jump through. I think probably the second thing that attracted me was the great management team and their incredibly strong credentials. Firstly, Adam has a long track record as a management consultant. Jean has got vast experience in reg and compliance space, which I think is really going to underpin the future. And finally, Keith Luce, who's this utterly brilliant technology polymath, a kind of, Gandalf in technology. And plus the rest of the team who are, just very, 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 very strong. And they give PINKPANDA a lot of credibility. I suppose the other areas was there's certainly the ESG social impact. So this was, the charity facets of the business plan. Adam had personal reasons for adopting a charity component to the business, but I think it's fundamentally something that resonates with everybody. And then the community focus. They engender trustworthiness through the transparency PINKPANDA gives the community. And then, of course, obviously the last thing was the pink panda. Who doesn't like a pink panda?
Well, I look forward to our next conversation, probably in the first quarter. Maybe we can get an update on the wallet, a little bit more about the metaverse. So that should be really exciting. Thank you so much, Adam and Kareem, for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Cyber attacks are a global threat affecting consumers and companies. Whether you're using your computer or mobile device to bank, shop, or work remotely, your privacy and corporate data are at risk. For over 20 years, STRIKEFORCE Technologies has developed some of the world's leading cybersecurity solutions. Millions of users around the world have put their trust in us to protect what matters most. Your privacy and data are your business. Protecting it is ours. Visit StrikeForceTech.com today.
SEKUR, the true solution for your digital privacy and security. SEKUR is a private and secure messaging and email solution hosted in Switzerland, using military-grade encryption and Swiss privacy laws, giving you true privacy. SEKUR is 100% private and does not collect or sell any of your personal data. SEKUR's Helix technology connects you securely to our Swiss servers without the need of a VPN, guaranteeing privacy and security for all your communications. SEKUR Messenger doesn't require your phone number or any personal data that hackers target. Chat by Invites allows you to chat privately and securely with anyone outside of your secure network without the need for others to download SEKUR. SEKUR Send offers you a private and secure way to email anyone outside of SEKUR. You won't find this level of privacy or security on any other email or instant messaging application. Visit SEKUR.com. Regain and protect your privacy today.
SEKUR has a solution for the email and messaging hacks that we are seeing on almost a daily basis here. I'm sure that these happen every day. We may not hear about all of them. And with me is the CEO, Alon Gahi of SEKUR, GlobeX Data, which SEKUR is one of their products. And Alon, let's talk about the Robinhood hack. So first of all, Robinhood is been a really interesting company this year. They were involved in the meme stocks, got a lot of attention, especially among younger stock investors. Now they're the victim of a hack. So what can you tell me about that you know?
Yes, Jane. So hi and hello to any of our viewers who are watching us right now. So Robinhood is an interesting company and controversial sometimes. And it could have a polarization. You have some people that are for it and some are against it. They're very cult-like. So I don't know who hacked them, but I would imagine it's somebody that is not either not a fan of Robinhood or somebody that knows that there's millions of people on that database, and the typical client base of Robinhood are generally a younger demographic. Obviously, they all use free email services like Gmail, for example, Hotmail, Yahoo, and so forth. The database, when it was stolen and they wanted to extract, I guess, the ransomware, they essentially got access to 7 million people. Now, in the article on The Verge, which is the one we're discussing about, in the article, Robinhood said, no, but they didn't get any social security back. I mean, we hear that all the time. They're not going to say, yes, they took the entire information. But these information slowly leak out. When you have a database and you're able to get one, you pretty much able to get another one and another. The bottom line, even if the hackers didn't get the social security numbers. They have the entire name, email, phone number, address, God knows what else. I wouldn't be surprised if they get their account info as well. A few months back, there was another hack with Robinhood where people started to complain that they're missing money. So there were millions of dollars missing from their account, and that was due to the same problem, which is the email. And then from the email, they go to the password and so forth. Some people said, I use the same password for everything. Well, yes, you need a password manager, but the flaw is it starts with the email, right? So that's one of many financial institutions that are having issues with their database. And then of course the customer, it's kind of not their responsibility, but it is their responsibility to make sure their information is at least safe, or they use a proper password and an email that's not free and hacked and data mined every day.
Now, you said they got their emails, and that's really the key, I think, to a lot of this is they get an email, they send them an email, oh, click here, there's trouble with your Robinhood account, something like that. That entices a person to click, and then the hacker gets access to your computer, right? That's what they're trying to do here?
It's called phishing. So not only that, but now they also have the email of the user, so they can do a million things with that email. I mean, it's just unreal. And they can also check what other system has that email that matches. So maybe your DoorDash delivery or your gym membership or another bank account, as a matter of fact. So what they'll do is they'll try to match. These are sophisticated machines. Once they have your name and your email, now they have your entire life, and they'll match up. Oh, this person has 3 bank accounts and 2 brokerage accounts. Let's see where we can go. And they resell that as well. So not only the hackers, but then they resell that in the dark web, and everybody has your entire life. So it's a huge issue. And that's what happens when you don't secure your database, when the customer uses a free service that's being data mined on an hourly basis. So that's the big issue.
Yeah. So let's go to what SEKUR offers, because this is an alternative. And I feel like these hacks are so common that people are starting to get a little tired of it and looking for alternatives. So tell me about SEKUR and what you offer.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I'm hearing slowly the water is warming up. It hasn't boiled up, but we get feed.
Well, thank you so much, Alon. Always interesting to talk to you, and I look forward to our discussion next week.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here. Thanks, Jane.
The proceeding was a paid program. The opinions and views expressed do not reflect those of Bloomberg LP, its affiliates, or its employees.
BSO Now is your online home for weekly Boston Symphony Orchestra and Boston Pops performances. See new concerts that go behind the scenes, plus acclaimed archival concerts. Visit bso.org/now, where the music plays on. BSO season sponsor, Bank of America.
Why do over 1 million investors use the Motley Fool to find high-conviction stocks? Well, our outstanding track record might have something to do with it, and new members can join today for just $99. Just go to fool.com/TV for all the details.
Every cookie sold in the Girl Scout Cookie Program helps girls learn lifelong lessons in people skills, decision-making, money management, goal setting, and business ethics. From one generation to the next. It's amazing how much you can learn from a cookie. The Girl Scout cookie program. Think outside the box.
Up front, when your shares are down 20%, it's got to hurt. But talk to us about, well, really what you're seeing. Take us more forward-looking. Are you worried about people exiting pandemic era and going back to the gym, or are we going to work out at home more?
Well, that's actually the advantage that Beachbody has is we have never been a direct competitor with the gym. In fact, what we rely on is our ability to influence the 150 million people in North America specifically who are overweight or obese and haven't made that choice yet. Our job is to influence them with great content and this combination of what we call the total solution: fitness, nutrition, and community, so that they can tap into this incredibly cost-effective
to join instructors like Nicole, here we go, Dallas, and all of us in celebration and satisfaction that lasts all day and all night. This party isn't about marks of status or status updates, but confidence, connection, a feeling that moves you long after you stop moving. And done. Way to go. Get a free iPad with your order at echelonfit.com/music. That's echelonfit.com/music.
Climate change is not a single issue. It cuts across every issue. The way we live, the way we feel, the way we run. Backed by powerful data and a global newsroom, Bloomberg Green is focused on solutions. Climate change is at the center of everything. We are at the center of solving it. Bloomberg Green, solutions for a changing climate.
I've decided that we're going to be cautious, make sure there's no travel to and from South Africa and 6 other countries in that region.
There is no scientific justification whatsoever for keeping these restrictions in place.
It does appear that Omicron spreads very rapidly and can be spread between people who are double vaccinated. There is also a very extensive mutation.
The new variant is concerning. It moved from being a variant of investigation to a variant of concern within the space of 24 hours.
We are in a strong position, but the objective of what we're doing tonight is to keep that position strong.
We call upon these countries that have imposed travel bans on our country and our other Southern African sister countries to immediately and urgently reverse their decisions.
Well, world leaders on the threat of the Omicron variant, of course, as we saw over the weekend, been tracking the spread of this that came out of countries like Botswana, as well as several countries in Africa. You are seeing it hitting to some key areas like Hong Kong. We saw a few more cases over the weekend. Israel, Denmark, Netherlands, Israel also just shutting their borders here for the next 2 weeks as well. So you are seeing more of these headlines here when it comes to borders that are shut. Once again, does this mean a repeat of what we saw last year? That's going to be the key question. Let's bring all of those questions to infectious disease expert Dr. Paul Thumbia, Professor, Department of Medicine at NUS Yonglulin School of Medicine. Dr. Thumbia, thank you so much for joining us. I know it's still early days, but what can you tell us about how dangerous this latest virus strain is? We know it can evade vaccines. Could this be, we're back to ground zero?
Well, I don't think so. And I'll tell you the reason why. First of all, from what we've heard from South Africa, is that there does not seem to be an increased virulence. There seems to be increased transmissibility. But there was a report from the South African health minister that most of the people infected were younger people, and the cases were relatively mild. The virus was first detected in someone infected on the 9th of November. So we're now 3 weeks out from that. And while there has been a rise in cases in South Africa, there has not been a comparable rise in hospitalizations. So again, you might say I'm an optimist or over-optimistic, but I think this is similar to what we've seen with Delta Plus or with Mu in recent weeks, where they appeared very threatening at the beginning, but eventually they were not. They turned out to be not as bad as they were feared to be.
When it comes to vaccines, is there a sense that what we have right now, the science that we have right now, can offer some cross protection?
Well, it's a bit complicated because what we're looking at is antibodies. And we know that the host immune response is more than antibodies. It also involves T cells. It also involves the innate immune response. On the surface, the antibody data are concerning because they do suggest that many of the antibodies which are commercially available right now will not work. And there's a risk that the vaccines may not work. But again, we saw this with the beta variant. And the vaccines are pretty effective against the beta variant. They may not be as effective as they are against the wild type, but they are pretty good even against the beta variant. So I am pretty confident that the vaccines will continue to do their job in preventing severe illness and death.
Do you think then that the travel bans we've seen, some of these border restrictions that we've seen over the weekend, are they justified this time around when more of the world is vaccinated?
No, I think they're completely unjustified. And I think there's several reasons for that. In the first place, you've already got spread of the disease in these countries, in particular in Western Europe, where we've identified cases over the last few weeks. So the disease is already in there, or rather the variant is already in there. So trying to impose a travel ban now is like shutting the barn door after the horse is bolted. Secondly, and perhaps more importantly, what this travel ban does is it sends a very bad signal to countries all over the world. Because, you know, the South Africans did a really good job in being transparent and identifying the cases and announcing it to the world. And then they get rewarded with a travel ban, which is going to cripple the tourist sector of the economy. And from what I've heard from colleagues, virologists in South Africa are already feeling the pain from individuals who are losing their livelihood and blaming the virologists for identifying this variant. So that's really counterproductive, and I sincerely hope that the WHO's advice is taken seriously in this case.
So what is the right approach then? What would you prescribe, doctor, just given, again, of course, it's easy to panic, of course, but it's still early days. What would be the right approach? Can we actually live with this new virus strain and reemerge out of this crisis as what most economies are facing now?
Yes, and I think that's the message that's come through in almost every country in the world over the last few months, is that we have to learn to live with the virus, with its different mutations, with the different variants that are going to emerge. And what we have to do is we have to use a science-based approach. So, you know, like what the South Africans did, which is to do detailed genetic fingerprinting so that you understand how the virus spreads, follow basic infection prevention protocols, make sure that there's good hygiene, that there's mask use in appropriate settings, and track these cases. When you get a new variant emerging, you could do detailed contact tracing because you're dealing with only 1 or 2 cases. When you start getting hundreds or thousands of cases a day, it's too late to do detailed contact tracing. And then at that point in time, you want to ramp up your vaccination. You want to identify those who are ill, ensure they get the appropriate treatment, and try and prevent mortality rather than try and prevent the incidence of cases.
And doctor, maybe you could talk a little bit more about just how 2022 is going to look like. What is it going to look like to you? What's the picture going to be? Are we going to be dealing with more of these types of virus strains? How is it going to be different from 2020, for example?
Yeah, you know, it's kind of depressing, but I hate to say this, but 2022 is going to look a lot like what this year has looked like. And that is unless the world can get our act together and ensure that everybody gets a chance to get vaccinated, everybody who wants to get a chance to get vaccinated. Because you can see it's no coincidence that these new strains are emerging in settings where vaccination rates are very low. So people who don't have access to affordable vaccines are just not going to get vaccinated, and the virus is going to go smoldering through these populations. So unless the world gets its act together, ramps up vaccination in low and middle income countries where the vaccination rates are depressingly low, we're going to see more of the same. And, you know, it's in their self-interest for high income countries to make sure that low and middle income countries get vaccinated, because they don't want to go back to square one every 2 or 3 months when there's a new variant emerging from some low and middle income country somewhere else.
Dr. Paul Tambia, thank you so much.